Hi everyone. So for this module, I know Dr. McClure has said that, we need to just talk as openly as we can and keep in mind that it's a very sensitive issue for a lot of people. Just take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm going to try to articulate myself as best I can. So to address the first two questions he asked us to talk about is what is one thing that I've learned from these readings? And from one of the websites that had all of the other links, the AAUW website, I like the 5 ways that faculty and staff can fight sexual assault on campus, and I think it's to bring outside experts in, and I think also that you have to participate in those public awareness initiatives such as the Clothesline Project, V-Day, the White Ribbon Campaign, and be active on campus so students and staff alike can see you really taking a stand and participating. But the other thing I learned was I really like those talking points also found through that website so that when you are asked on the spot questions, you have those answers prepared. And I think it's important to know your facts and know what you're going to say. So sexual assault is deemed anything that is sexual contact that is not explicitly consent, and that it happens, to 1 in 5 women, and that most of the perpetrators are your friends, and that less than 5% of the rape cases are reported, and that alcohol is the biggest weapon. So I think it's important to know your talking points, because again, I think on the spot we can often get flustered and sort of make up answers or babble into the next, and we just need to be concise and clear because it's so serious of an issue. Obviously, knowing Title IX is going to be so huge, and especially your own school-specific rules and regulations with privacy and when you need to report stuff. Things that I want to do working in the field, hopefully right around the corner, I really would like to focus on prevention because I think that almost with anything in life, prevention is probably one of the best strategies. So I think going around and talking to certain groups on campus that oftentimes find themselves in the headlines, like Greek life or athletics, along with obviously it can happen anywhere else, not just those. But I think to have those discussions. One of the articles, women went around and spoke with, I think it was the lacrosse team, they said, and they would just ask questions. What do you think qualifies as assault? What would you do in this scenario? And they would just throw candy to every person as they answer. And I think having those informal outreach efforts could be really helpful. And I think it's important to reach out to women, also men, but especially to women because it does show that women are more often targets, that you need to make smart choices about where you are and who you are hanging out with. Not to say at all that it is never the victim's fault for wearing a certain outfit or for drinking too much or hanging out at a certain party, but I think that people need to be aware of their decision and that you need to make smart decisions so that you don't put yourself in high-risk scenarios where you could be targeted or where alcohol can be used as a weapon against you. And so I think girls need to be more informed about not going to a huge party where you're just randomly scooping punch out of a big bucket with your solo cup, and that you need to be hanging around with friends that you trust, even though a lot of times friends are usually the ones who are the perpetrators. I just think that prevention, as far as talking about when to stop, when is too much, being careful of the kind of cups you're using, the kind of drinks you're drinking, because no matter what, at the end of the day, it's never going to be your fault. Being too drunk does not give anyone the right to force you into consensual sex or for you to not be able to make a conscious decision, but you can choose what parties you go to. And so I think for people to be aware, don't go to the big Greek parties if you don't feel safe. Don't go to, the random house parties. Don't drink out of an open cup that someone hands you. Go to the bar and get your own bottle, your own can. That isn't as hard to put a date rape drug into. So I think just talking about it openly in your curriculum or just in events on campus at booths so that girls and boys can just keep being reminded of smart choices and to know that they are never to blame for it regardless of what they did decide to do that night. Looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts and opinions, and I think it's just always a good reminder to read articles like this because it's clearly a huge issue in the headlines.